My first ever football kit was actually a Liverpool kit.
You were best man at my wedding and I didn't know that.
I know.
Things could have turned out quite differently. Hi everybody, welcome to the latest video on the channel. Today you can see we are awash with red, white and yellow, so it's a Liverpool bonanza. We're excited to have a look through. Subside Sports have provided us with quite a few different shirts to look at, and we just wanted to track a little bit of the journey that Liverpool shirts have been on over the years, whether that's been the different styles of crest that's on it, the different executions. There's plenty of those. We're not going to go through it shirt by shirt as we typically do for our reviews. So where shall we start, Craig? Which one do you want to look at first?
I would start with the one that we've waxed lyrical about, their home kit. We all agreed that this is an absolute stellar footy kit. This is the Players Edition. Great neckline, fantastic badge applications, fabric's lovely. We loved it. So looking at that and then going back through the way, as you quite rightly called out, the way badges were applied, sponsorship logos. I mean, if you go back to some of the classics.
Yeah. It was quite an intricate badge at the time, wasn't it? So I guess the only option was to house it on a shield. Interesting that Adidas opted to slide the 3 stripes behind on this one as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's actually quite it's an interesting kit though, because that's the one that Newcastle and Liverpool played out those epic 4-3 battles.
That's right.
Collymore and
Villa legend Stan Collymore.
Yeah, when we kind of threw a 12-point lead away. But yeah, I actually quite like that kit. And again, much like the Newcastle kits of the time, the quality was really quite nice. Wasn't overly keen on the neckline because I thought it needed to be on a cricket top. But yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, it's a fairly chunky monkey, the collar on that.
It is. But then if you look at this one, I've got to start with this one.
I'm
itching to go.
So you said we were going to go backwards and you've got all
I know, I've just gone
grab the one you like.
Too quick. But there is a story behind this, which as a Newcastle fan, I'm ashamed to admit. But my first ever football kit was actually a Liverpool kit.
Really?
And there's actually a picture of us sporting this actual kit.
You were best man at my wedding and I didn't know that.
I know.
Things could have turned out quite differently.
Well, you know, that's probably why I didn't tell you, because I wanted to be your best man. But this one is a cracker.
Yeah.
And I talk about this because this has actually inspired so many of my kit designs over the years. So if I think of like the Barcelona striped jersey that we did, which was that fine herringbone stripe that we put through one of the away kits, it was all inspired by a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
Because these are so iconic. I think when this first launched, I'm sure they had this for a few seasons, certainly 2 seasons, if not 3.
Yeah.
Because at the time we weren't changing kits as often. And I believe it originally started with a Hitachi.
That's right.
And the Hitachi one, I think we've got one of them knocking around. If you wanted to talk into the whole Hitachi story.
Yeah, so people talk about the first sponsors within English football, and Kettering Town had Kettering tyres on their shirt as being the first ones, but there's usually a lot of mystique about Liverpool as a club and being like this great institution, almost, you know, an untouchable institution. But they were the first top flight team to have a sponsor logo in the English league. So Hitachi came in and did that. But then when Liverpool got to European Cup finals in, I think, 81 and 84, if I'm right, hit like. If I'm not, just mention it in the comments. They had to have a version that didn't have a sponsor logo on because it still wasn't allowed in European competition.
Yeah, that's right.
And even the Umbro logo on the right chest, that was covered over just with what looked to be white electrical tape at the time as well.
But when you look at that now, right, does it remind you of a current kit that Adidas have done for a noisy neighbour?
It doesn't actually. Go on, tell me.
Man United.
Yeah.
Turn that into a crew neck and it's a Man United kit all day long.
That's true.
And that's why I think I got a little bit aggrieved by the Man United kit when you look at the replica.
Yeah.
It is effectively just a straight up and down round neck
T-shirt.
Yeah.
The rib's nicer on this than the Adidas replica.
But they can be forgiven because that's from like, what, 30, 40, 50 years ago or whatever it is.
Let's not say 50 because it was during my lifetime. But yeah, so I mean, I think even just the sort of sponsors that Liverpool have had over the years, whether it is Crown Paints, Candy, Carlsberg, they are really, really iconic and memorable. Standard Chartered obviously paying a huge amount of money. Perhaps not the sexy brand that some of the others were, but money talks.
Here's a classic one. Whoa.
It was, and I know you hate that one, don't you?
Yeah, don't like that at all. For 2 reasons, really. One, because I think the 3 stripes is absolutely ridiculous. And I hate the equipment logo. I much prefer the trefoil, which is so much nicer.
They did 2 versions of this as well, didn't they? Where it was printed, so it was just a front and a back panel. and the Adidas equipment logo was at a jaunty angle, like a sailor's hat down here.
Yeah, that's right.
And then it got moved up centrally for this one. But in either execution, it was...
That's pants.
Yeah, it's not
But
great,
this, look at that, man. What a kit that is.
Yeah.
What a kit. I mean, that, even as a non-Liverpool fan, I can't say I would wear it, but it's nice.
Well, you've got previous, so...
I have got previous.
You treat yourself.
I wish I'd never said that, actually. I'm never going to live that down. I'll
You are
probably have to
not.
get a picture. But yeah, that for me is an absolute classic. And Arsenal, I think, had something very similar.
Yeah,
at the
what
time.
stands out for me about this is during my childhood, growing up in Birmingham, you were either a Villa fan or a Liverpool fan because they were winning everything at the time.
Yeah.
So most of the kids at school that I didn't like would have been wearing this.
Yeah.
Because obviously they were glory hunting traitors and should have been supporting the mighty Villa instead. But from a design perspective,
Yeah,
it's
lovely.
classic.
What a logo that is, though, man, from a brand. That for me, Adidas, bring that back, man. Bring it
Never
back.
going to happen.
You never know. Might be Newcastle next season.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be interesting to see where Liverpool go in the coming years. We've had quite the variety of different, even shades of red across the table, different logo executions. So there's plenty more distance to be explored. One thing that bears talking about during the kit history was this one. So there was a lot of noise and complaint when the flames and the number 96 got moved to the back. That was a relatively recent thing. Originally, it was on the front of the shirt. And sadly, this is the last one that will have a 96 on the back. Going forward, it'll be a 97, yeah. So, hugely important in any football fan's memory, the tragedy at Hillsborough. But I just always think it's amazing that they still pay honour to it. And I think that'll be the one thing that definitely won't change in the coming years, will be.
Yeah, definitely.
Paying honour and respect.
Yeah, because even Warrior, as much as I'm not a big fan of any of their kits, I think that was like the dark days of football kits for any team that unfortunately had to take their kits.
They weren't good, were they?
They had the 96 on the back of that as well.
So Warrior, for all the problems that they had, something that was universally loved was having the liverbird back on the chest instead of this assortment of shields and crests that had been put across everything.
Yeah. Warrior, if I'm not mistaken, was New Balance, right?
Yeah, so they were a lacrosse brand, I think from New England in the US, and New Balance had bought it and wanted to use it as their team sport arm. And then Warrior spent 3 years just vomiting up designs for teams across Europe.
Car crash.
New Balance took it back into their own hands, thankfully, and did a pretty good job once it was back in-house.
Yeah, I think so, apart from the nipple grater.
Yeah, there's no getting away from that bad boy. So we'd love to know, what are your favourite Liverpool shirts? Is there any that you've absolutely hated? Do you disagree with us and think that Warrior was the golden era of Liverpool shirts? Give us a like, leave a comment below, and if you want to see more from us, hit subscribe.
Leave her in a quick subside mention.
So in this Warrior shirt that Subside gave us, that's the Liverpool badge, it was the first Subside Warrior shirt that had the Liverpool Subside badge on the chest.
Subside?
Yeah.
Someone mentioned Subside?
Apparently. Is that all right?
No, we'll do that again.